Joining us today is Dr. Fereidun Fesharaki, Chairman of FACS Global Energy, who will be speaking at IIR's SEAAOC, Southeast Asia Australia Offshore Conference 2010, taking place on the 22nd to 24th of September this year in Darwin. Hello, Dr. Fesharaki. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
First of all, can you start by letting me know your overall thoughts on the current state of the global LNG market?
Well, the LNG markets are still pretty much in balance, but many people believe that the buyer's market is emerging by the end of 2011, sometimes in 2012. There is a lot of LNG entering the market, and the demand has not yet fully recovered from where it was before the financial crisis. So from the seller's point of view, this market still, they ask for the same prices, same kind of things as before the potential surplus, and the buyers are all looking for special deals, short-term and long-term, and some of them are dismayed that they haven't received it yet.
And how's Australia competing with its international LNG competitors?
Well, the cost of producing LNG in Australia is quite high because of the environmental rules, potentially because of the resource tax, but generally it's a more expensive environment than some of the places like the Middle East. I think that perhaps some of the recent projects which have gone ahead in Australia are about 5 times more expensive than the Middle East ones. But there are the sellers in Australia, all the way from Woodside, Shell, ExxonMobil, Chevron, they're kind of pretty savvy. And they've done a really good job of convincing the buyers that this is a good place to buy from. And we have a situation where a lot of cheap Middle East LNG is still not sold, but a lot of more expensive Australian LNG is already sold. So Australia may not be competitive fully in terms of price and cost, but it is very much competitive in terms of the savviness of the sellers and the political stability which is perceived by the buyers.
And do you think that recently developed unconventional gas sources such as CSG and shale gas will impact on Australian LNG exports?
Well, of course, the coal seam gas is also an LNG, so that will become another LNG. I think that Australia will emerge as the largest exporter of LNG in the world, even bigger than Qatar. And a combination of existing projects, the new projects which have been approved in the past 6 months, at least 2-3 projects on the coal seam gas I expect to go ahead. Some of the existing projects we expanded. So Australia would be in a situation where the unconventional gas, which is mainly in Australia as a coal seam gas, but the biggest player in the world is the shale gas in the U.S. They would have an impact on LNG trade, but in a way they kind of may not hurt Australian LNG exports, because the biggest impact is going to be on the exports from the Middle East, which were slated for the U.S., and now that they cannot sell it in the U.S. so easily, they won't change policy and bring it to Asia. That has given a special opportunity to Australian players to be able to market their gas, which would have been very difficult to market if the cheaper Middle East LNG was sent to the Asian markets. So unusual situation in the sense that the rigidity of the policies of some of the Middle East countries is giving the chance to Australia to sign the long-term contract and be a long-term permanent top player in the LNG business.
And what are your predictions for Australia and Southeast Asia's LNG industry over the next 12 months?
Next 12 months, I think still we have, I expect some coal seam gas projects to go ahead. I expect that Papua New Guinea projects will be expanded. Some of the existing projects will be expanded. So I think that the outlook looks very good for Australia, but we need to keep in mind that the outlook remains good for Australia because the Middle East suppliers which are going to the U.S. have not turned their boat around and come towards Asia. If they do, a lot of the projects might be delayed. But they've indicated that they will go on with the old policy of trying to sell in the U.S. market despite the lower prices, because they hope that the LNG prices will pick up and they don't want to change policy. So that actually is good news for the Australian LNG industry.
You're speaking at IIR SEAAOC Conference 2010, taking place on the 22nd to 24th of September 2010 in Darwin. What will you be addressing in your presentation?
Well, I'll be addressing several points. First, the impact of the whole new structural change in the LNG business on potential exports from Australia, but also potential demand from the giant buyers in China and India, and how they would impact exports out of Australia and the whole of Southeast Asia generally.
And finally, what do you hope that delegates will gain from attending SEAAOC?
Well, I think it's a unique event. I actually participated in the first couple of them even before the IIR days. So it actually brings together a series of players in an environment which actually there is no other forum which attracts them all at the same time. So I think that they can get the latest sort of understanding, and not just information but insights from key players about what is happening in the global market and what it means for the Southeast Asian and Australian market.
Dr. Fereidun Fesharaki, many thanks for your time today.
You're welcome.